To the latest arm balance tutorial where we'll look at Astavakrasana or 8-angle pose. We'll just take a couple of sun salutations and poses to build heat and to build strength to be able to take flight and find our arm balance. So if we begin first of all, as always, connecting both sitting bones to the floor, legs are either crossed or legs are long, relaxing those shoulders away from the ears. We clear the mind and slow the breath down. Taking long and slow inhalations and exhalations, both in and out through the nose, finding our Ujjayi breath. That oceanic sounding breath, we restrict the back of the throat. Staying in touch with that breath, we just begin to draw circles round from the centre. So as we come forwards, open and dome through the ribs, then draw back and round the spine. Almost as if we're stirring a pot from the belly button. Pressing forwards, opening the rib cage, drawing back round the spine. Try not to let those shoulders lift as we go round. Remember to keep breathing. And then we can change the direction, so we send it back round the other way. Open and expand the rib cage, then contract and round in the spine. Keeping those sitting bones connected to the floor as we go. And then we release. Lifting just the right hand, we send the forearm to the outside of the opposite thigh. Bring fingertips down to the floor, maybe staying here. We send that hand round to take hold of the thigh. Then we can change sides. We bring forearm to the outside of the thigh, fingertips to the floor sitting tall, maybe sending that hand round to take hold of the thigh, and exhale to work slightly further into that spinal twist. Again we release, sending both knees towards the ceiling, bring feet close together, then let the knees fall towards the floor, soles of the feet connect. We take hold either of the lower legs or take the feet. Coming forwards from the hips, first of all, keep that extension in the spine. Then begin to exhale and round in the back, bringing the forehead down towards the toes. Just opening into those hip joints in Astavakrasana. Then we restack the vertebrae, lifting away from the floor. Readjust here, coming into a table position. Hands underneath those shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips. Tuck the toes underneath, then float both knees away from the floor. First of all, as we inhale, we soften the knees, press those hips back, keep the hips in line with the shoulders. Then exhale, come forwards, high plank position. Like winding up a spring. Breathe in, soften the knees, pressing hips back. Breathe out, come forwards, high plank position. 2 more. Breathe in, softening knees, pushing those hips back. Then breathe out to press forwards. Last time. Breathing in. We breathe out. From here, pressing hips up and back towards the ceiling. And just try to soften into the knees one at a time. So we're working through those hamstrings, pedaling the feet. And then on the next exhalation, try to work both heels down towards the floor together, finding that extension through the spine, shoulders away from the ears. Option, we lift one hand, sending that hand underneath and through for the lower leg or the ankle, looking underneath that shoulder. And we can release. Option to stay here, we lift the hand, sending that hand underneath and through, taking hold of the ankle. And again, finding our downward facing dog. Knees soften, heels lift. Walk the feet forwards towards the hands. And as the feet arrive, both knees bend. Release the hips back and slowly restack the vertebrae, lifting away from the floor. Releasing the shoulders, lifting the head and the neck. We bring the feet close together, spreading the toes down into the floor, opening those palms forwards into Tadasana. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, hinge, come into a forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Then exhale, release, knees soften, stepping lunge, then into that high plank position. Soften knees to the floor, and exhale, bend in the elbows. Inhale, lift, full cobra, slight bend in the elbows, shoulders relax. Exhale, lift either into table, or come up and back into a downward facing dog. Again, we soften the knees to lift the heels. Either walk or step to a lunge, then again forward fold. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, drawing hands, heart center. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hinge, coming forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. We exhale to release, coming back into our high plank position, bringing the weight forwards. Exhale, full chaturanga. Inhale, we lift. Cobra or up dog. If we're in up dog, the knees are away from the floor. Then exhale, pressing to lift again into our downward facing dog. Knees soften, heels lift. Send those hands slightly wider and walk, step or float the feet through, lengthening in both legs. As we inhale, first of all, lift both arms, sit tall, Dandasana, staff pose. As we exhale, we round towards those toes. Hands maybe to the thighs, the shins, or if possible, bring 2 fingers around the big toes like a hook to fold. Just breathing into the stretch, breathing into that fold. Slowly restack the vertebrae, relaxing the shoulders. Both knees bend, feet to the floor, the arms are long, fingertips forwards. Maybe we float the heels away from the floor and we can stay here. Or lifting one foot or both feet away. Option, we extend those legs, coming into boat pose. Trying not to collapse in that lower spine. We keep the center nice and strong. We keep breathing. Inhale, crossing the legs. Exhale, pressing hands through. Tuck the toes. Lift again into our downward facing dog. Knees soften, heels lift, stepping lunge. Or maybe float the feet forwards. Uttanasana. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, drawing hands, heart center. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, hinge to come forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Stepping lunge, then high plank. Bring the weight forwards, generating that strength, that power. Bend the elbows, chaturanga. Inhale, lifting cobra or up dog. Then exhale, pressing to lift downward dog. Again, knees soften to lift the heels. And we bring those legs long as we turn to face towards me. So extending in both legs. And we'll go for our arm balance posture, our 8 angle pose. First of all, softening into the right knee. We take just beneath the knee joint and also take hold of that foot. Lifting the foot away from the floor, we just start to rock gently from side to side. So we're really working into this hip joint and keeping the opposite hip as still and as grounded as possible. Option to stay here or to work a bit further into the hip. We interlace the fingers along that lower leg, Trying not to round in the spine, so we're trying to avoid collapsing backwards, lifting towards that lower leg. Option, we stay here, or to go further, we take hold of the foot with the left hand, bring the right arm underneath that right leg and place the hand to the floor. Remember our suction pad, so we're thinking about drawing up and out of the mat with that arm, or with that hand rather. Option to extend the leg and turn to look away underneath the opposite shoulder, really working through that leg and into the hip joint. This is Paravita Surya Yantra. Compass or sundial pose. Good preparation to take flight for our arm balance. From here we soften into this knee. So we're placing both hands down to the floor. Important to keep the hands fairly close to the upper body so that we decrease our base and improve our strength. If the arms are too far apart, we can't balance. Hands nice and close. Think about resting this lower leg onto the back of the arm. That's like our shelf to get us lifted. Pressing down through the arms, we power to lift the hips and that foot as well. For the balance, cross the legs over so it's like a hook. And as we send the feet to the side, we bend in both elbows, floating those feet and the hips away from the floor. Let's go again, one more time, just to break it down a bit further. Lifting that foot away. Right arm underneath that right leg. Both hands to the floor, suction pads. Hands quite close to the upper body. Keep breathing. Try not to hold the breath. I know it's tempting. Push against the floor with those arms. There's a slight bend in the elbows. Then we cross the legs. As we send those feet to the side, we bend in both elbows and balance. Changing sides. As always, we'll find one side is a little bit easier than the other. So if we're lucky, this will be the easy side. We lift away. Take hold of the foot, take hold of just underneath that knee, and rock gently from side to side. If we want to work a bit further into the hip, we interlace the fingers, and again rock from side to side. Keeping that extension in the spine. Option, we bring the right hand to the left foot, then bring the left arm underneath that leg, placing the hand down to the floor. Option, we extend the leg and we turn to look away underneath the opposite shoulder in our compass or sundial pose. Paravita Surya Yantra. Then we release. So we're going again for our 8-angle pose. Remember, placing those hands to the floor, keeping hands close, slight bend in the elbows, float hips away, maybe that leg as well. Option, we cross the legs over like a hook. As we send the feet to the side, tip the upper body weight forwards, bend into those elbows. We release. We go one more attempt before we finish. Placing left hand underneath. Make sure that the leg is onto the tricep, so we need this as a platform. Pushing down through the arms, keeping those elbows bent. Like a chaturanga, elbows close to the upper body, crossing those legs. As we send the hips, or the feet rather, to the side, we think about pitching forwards, bending those elbows. And we can release. So let's just readjust, taking our time. Softening in both knees. Exhale to fold from the hips, opening into those shoulders, lengthening the arms. Maybe just walking those fingertips away from the upper body, creating more space in the shoulders. again, we slowly restack the vertebrae, lifting away from the floor, just finding a comfortable position on the mat feet. We take a deep breath in through the nose, lifting both arms. Exhale out through the mouth to release. One more time, deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. And relax. Thank you very much. If you'd like a tutorial on any arm balances, just let me know in the comments below and I'll create one. Thank you.